The rise and fall of Ontario Varrio Sur Black Angels. Rivalries, challenges, and the power struggles of Ruben Tupi Hernandez and Darryl D. Castrejon in the major racketeering crackdown. Ontario Varrio Sur OVS, also known as Ontario Varrio Sunkist, traces its roots back to the early 1940s in Ontario, California, as a modest car club. Over time, OVS evolved into one of San Bernardino County's most powerful and enduring street gangs. With deep ties to the Mexican Mafia La Mafia, this organization boasts approximately 2,500 members and commands extensive influence across Southern California and beyond. Central to OVS's legacy is its elite subgroup, the Black Angels, whose strategic decisions and unwavering loyalty to La Mafia have solidified the gang's status as a formidable force. Origins and early struggles. Initially composed of two cliques, the Black Angels and the Earth Angels, OVS saw fierce internal battles for dominance during the 1970s and 1980s. While the Earth Angels initially held sway, their decline paved the way for the Black Angels to consolidate power, establishing themselves as the gang's elite faction. This hierarchical division persists, with the Black Angels and their junior counterparts, the Junior Black Angels Angelitos Negros, serving as key pillars of OVS's structure. Territory and expansion. OVS's main turf encompasses South Ontario, bordered by Vineyard Avenue, Benson Avenue, the 10 Freeway, and Philadelphia Street. Sanchez Street and Sunkist Street are especially significant, serving as hubs for gang activity. Over time, the gang's reach has extended into neighboring counties, including Riverside, Orange, and Los Angeles, strengthening its regional influence. Symbolism and identity. Identity plays a pivotal role in OVS culture. The gang's colors, black and white, symbolize their unity and rank. Hats emblazoned with specific logos carry deeper meanings. Baltimore Orioles hats represent the O for Ontario. Anaheim Angels hats signify ties to the Black Angels. Chicago White Sox hats denote allegiance to South Ontario 13. Tattoos and graffiti further assert membership in hierarchy. Symbols like Black Angels or the initials B and A signify elite status, while general OVS markings denote broader affiliation. Rivalries and challenges. OVS's history is marked by fierce rivalries with numerous gangs, including the Chino Sinners, Cucamonga Kings, Northside Ontario, Eastside Ontario, Pomona 12th Street, and Claramonte Rifa. Tensions with African American gangs in their territory have added layers of complexity to their dominance. Despite these challenges, OVS's militant infrastructure has enabled them to adapt and maintain influence, extending their reach into rural and urban Southern California settings. Symbols of power. The Black Angels. The Black Angels exemplify OVS's peak authority and influence. Membership in this elite faction demands discipline, loyalty, and alignment with La Mafia goals. Their ability to enforce rules, resolve disputes, and conduct organized operations distinguishes them within both the gang and the wider criminal landscape. Their reputation as enforcers and strategists has not only cemented their authority but also perpetuated their legacy as one of the most formidable factions within the Inland Empire. Structure and hierarchy. OVS operates within a sophisticated three-tier hierarchy designed to maintain control and elevate the most loyal and violent members. 1. Ontario Varrio Sur OSV. Street-level operatives who engage in various criminal activities to prove allegiance and generate income for the gang. 2. Junior Black Angels, Angelitos Negros. Mid-tier members responsible for carrying out violent acts and aspiring to elite status. 3. The Black Angels. The apex of the gang's hierarchy, comprising individuals who demonstrate unwavering dedication and capability, often earning acknowledgement from the Mexican Mafia. Becoming a Black Angel requires earning respect through loyalty, generating revenue for the gang, and demonstrating physical prowess and combat skills. Members who achieve this status often earn direct acknowledgement from La Mafia, underscoring their importance in OVS's operations. Connections to the Mexican Mafia. OVS's close alliance with the Mexican Mafia has played a critical role in its growth and organizational structure. Members operate under Law Emma's directives, facilitating the distribution of illegal substances, orchestrating acts of violence, and extending influence within prison systems. The integration of OVS into Law Emma's network amplifies its authority and ensures operational consistency across multiple regions. Prominent Black Angels members such as Darryl Dashing D. Castrejon, Armando Mondo Barajas, Juan Nito Gil, Juan Swifty Diaz, Ronald Turtle, Tortuga Baisa, and Ruben Tupi Hernandez have further solidified these ties, serving as conduits between OVS and Law Emma. Ruben Tupi Hernandez. The rise and fall of a Mexican Mafia legend. Ruben Tupi Hernandez, a prominent figure in the Mexican Mafia, etched his name into the annals of gang history as one of the most infamous and ruthless members of the Ontario Varrio Sunkist OVS gang. His journey from a notorious street gang to the leadership ranks of the Mexican Mafia Law Emma showcases a life marked by violence, loyalty, and an eventual descent into chaos. Early life and rise in OVS. Tupi Hernandez grew up in the heart of Ontario, California, surrounded by the gang culture of the OVS. A veteran member of the Ontario Black Angels, the highest tier within OVS, Tupi gained prominence early on. Alongside his best friend, Tito Marines, Tupi led the gang through battles against rival groups, solidifying their reputation as a dominant force in the region. It was during his numerous stints in California prisons as a teenager that Tupi aligned himself with the Mexican Mafia. His dedication, violence, and loyalty earned him recognition and respect from veteran Law Emma members. By the time he was an adult, Tupi had become one of the most feared inmates within the California prison system, known for his willingness to carry out violent orders without hesitation. The tragic death of Tito Marines. The murder of Tito Marines became a pivotal moment in Tupi's life. While serving an 8-year sentence for robbery, Tupi received news of Marine's death. Consumed by rage, he meticulously planned his revenge. Upon his release, Tupi chastised younger OVS members for failing to handle business. His primary target was Mary Lou Davila Salazar, a woman he believed responsible for Marine's death. In June 1987, Tupi's thirst for vengeance culminated in a heinous act of violence. Armed and determined, he stormed Salazar's home on Sunkist Street in Ontario. Salazar, her young roommate Lourdes Flores, and Lourdes' boyfriend Francisco Delgado Ortiz were savagely beaten and executed by Tupi to eliminate all witnesses. The gruesome murders, deemed one of the most brazen gang-related acts in Inland Empire history, shocked the community.
A sickness that clearly infected Mexican Mafia hitman Ruben Tupi Hernandez. Only 12 days after getting out of Folsom Penitentiary, he comes here to his old neighborhood in Ontario, home of the Black Angels street gang. Word is, Mary Lou Davila, a small-time drug dealer, paid $10,000 for the death of a Mexican Mafia member who was shaking her down for drugs. Tupi picked up the Mexican Mafia contract that sought revenge. Went to Davila's house one Sunday evening. Maria Lourdes, who rented a room from Davila, and her fiancé, Pancho Ortiz, two innocent bystanders, just returned home from a night out. Tupi tied them all up, hands and feet, and shot them in the head, execution style. At the trial, these relatives of the victims, who choose not to be identified, say Tupi was amused when prosecutors said they would not seek the death penalty.
Looked us directly in the face and laughed at us. He just thought this was just a game. He looked us straight in the eye and laughed.
Tupi Hernandez is serving 3 consecutive life terms without parole here at California's maximum security prison in Pelican Bay. But last March, about a year and a half after Tupi's conviction, a gunman late one night walked down this Ontario sidewalk and opened fire with a semi-automatic weapon, killing Black Angel gang member Roger Soto while he slept in bed, the man whose testimony put Tupi Hernandez behind bars.
Conviction and leadership in Pelican Bay. Tupi's actions caught up with him swiftly. On July 19, 1988, he was convicted of all 3 murders and sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms plus 16 years. His incarceration at Pelican Bay marked his evolution into a Mexican mafia leader. Tupi retained significant influence even behind bars, orchestrating criminal activities and maintaining ties to OBS members on the streets. A tumultuous relationship with the Mexican mafia. Despite his prominence within La Maya, Tupi's journey took a darker turn. His strained relationship with Benjamin Topo Peters, a high-ranking Mexican mafia member, sowed discord. Tupi sought to challenge Topo's authority and coveted the Godfather status after Joe Morgan's death. The rivalry escalated, leading to suspicion and betrayal within the ranks of La Maya. On October 18, 1996, Tupi's defiance nearly cost him his life. While in a holding cell at the Los Angeles Federal Courthouse, he was ambushed by 2 fellow Mexican mafia members wielding handmade prison knives. Stabbed 17 times, Tupi miraculously survived the attack, although his mental and physical state began to deteriorate. The mental decline of Tupi Hernandez. In the years following the assassination attempt, Tupi exhibited increasingly erratic behavior. He became paranoid, accusing Topo Peters of planting hidden surveillance cameras in his cell. Often seen standing naked in his cell, talking to himself, Tupi showed signs of severe mental instability. His credibility and influence within La Maya waned as the organization began distancing itself from him. The RICO indictment and life sentences. In May 1995, Tupi Hernandez, Topo Peters, and 20 other Mexican mafia members and associates were indicted under the Federal Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations RICO Act. The indictment detailed numerous acts of violence, extortion, and organized crime orchestrated by La Maya. On September 3, 1997, Tupi was sentenced to 4 life terms without the possibility of parole. He remains incarcerated at a federal prison, although details about his current condition and whereabouts remain scarce. His life, once filled with loyalty and power, is now shrouded in obscurity. Legacy of violence and power. Ruben Tupi Hernandez's story is a chilling testament to the destructive allure of gang life and the volatile dynamics within the Mexican mafia. From his rise as a leader in OBS to his eventual downfall within La Maya, Tupi's life serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of violence, betrayal, and unchecked ambition. The rise and fall of Darryl D. Castrejon. A tale of power, betrayal, and consequence. Darryl D. Castrejon's life was a dramatic tale of influence, loyalty, and ultimate downfall. From his roots in the Ontario Black Angels to his rise within the Mexican mafia, Castrejon's story reflects the dangerous interplay of power and betrayal in the criminal underworld. His legacy spans California and Mexico, where his influence reached unprecedented heights before his tragic demise. The conspiracy and legal struggles. In 2005, Castrejon and 3 associates, Julio Ponce Felix Jr., Arthur Garcia, and Ricardo Polanco, were arrested and charged with conspiring to murder Frankie B. Buelna, a fellow Mexican mafia member. The motive? Buelna was accused of conducting unauthorized gang activities in Pomona. Prosecutors alleged that Castrejon, the plot's shot caller, orchestrated the plan to eliminate Buelna, a move intercepted by law enforcement through wiretapped phone calls. Despite these charges, Castrejon managed to secure his release on a staggering $1 million bail. He used properties belonging to his daughter and father-in-law as collateral, demonstrating his extensive resources and connections. For over 3 years, he adhered to court appearances. However, on January 27, 2009, just days before his trial, Castrejon vanished. Mysterious disappearance. The circumstances surrounding his disappearance remain shrouded in mystery. Castrejon's wife initially speculated he had been taken into federal custody, but prosecutors quickly debunked this theory. On January 23, Castrejon reportedly assured his defense attorney, Albert Perez Jr., that he was home with his wife. The following day, He visited his father-in-law's house in Fontana, leaving behind his car and cell phone before vanishing. Authorities explored multiple possibilities. Was he dead? In hiding locally? Or perhaps he had fled the state or country. His absence resulted in a revoked bail bond, and a no-bail warrant was issued for his arrest. His failure to appear in Pomona Superior Court and a separate drug case in San Bernardino County marked the beginning of a manhunt. Despite extensive efforts, Castrejon's whereabouts remained unknown. A deadly rivalry and tragic end. Buellna's murder in 2006 at Characters Sports Bar in downtown Pomona added another layer to Castrejon's story. Although the killing remains unsolved, its potential connection to the earlier conspiracy underscores the dangerous dynamics of gang conflicts. Years later, Castrejon's influence extended beyond California to Mexico, where he rose to power as a plaza boss in Piedras Negras. Operating on an unprecedented scale, Castrejon commanded significant authority, rivaling the most prominent figures in the region. His role in the ongoing power struggle between the Ninas and the Chapitos factions of the Sinaloa cartel placed him at the center of escalating violence. In a chilling culmination of this violent saga, Castrejon met his end, hanged from a bridge, a grim message amidst a brutal conflict. Reports suggest he was tortured before his death, a stark reminder of the perils of betrayal and unchecked power in the underworld. Legacy of influence. Castrejon's life was marked by resilience and resourcefulness. Known as the Old Man from Ontario, he commanded respect and fear, even from behind bars in Corcoran Shoe. His ventures in Mexico elevated him to legendary status, but they also sealed his fate. His ability to navigate the treacherous waters of the criminal world for so long speaks to his strategic mind and commanding presence. Yet, his story also highlights the inherent risks of such a life. In the end, Castrejon's prominence made him a target, as alliances shifted and loyalties wavered. His brutal death serves as a sobering reminder of the costs of power and the fragility of trust in the criminal underworld. Darryl D. Castrejon's story is one of ambition, dominance, and ultimate downfall. His life encapsulates the volatile nature of organized crime, where power is both a weapon and a vulnerability. As authorities continue to piece together the unresolved aspects of his legacy, Castrejon's tale remains a compelling narrative of the heights one can reach, and the depths one can fall, in the pursuit of power. Breaking the chains. The crackdown on Ontario's Black Angels gang. On April 21, 2010, law enforcement delivered a significant blow to the Black Angels gang, a notorious criminal enterprise operating in Ontario, California, for over 5 decades. This joint federal and state operation culminated in the arrests of 27 gang affiliates, targeting their involvement in drug trafficking, violent crimes, and connections to the Mexican mafia. These arrests, the result of a meticulous investigation, represent a decisive moment in the fight against organized crime in Southern California. A multi-agency strike. The takedown showcased an extraordinary collaboration between agencies, bringing together approximately 400 personnel. Key players included the Drug Enforcement Administration (DEA), the Ontario Police Department, the Internal Revenue Service (IRS) Criminal Investigation, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE). Operating under the Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force (OCDETF) initiative within the High-Intensity Drug Trafficking Area (HIDTA) program, the operation aimed to disrupt the gang's vast criminal network. During this enforcement effort, authorities arrested several key figures, including Mexican Mafia associates Darryl Castrejon, Arthur Garcia, Julio Ponce Felix Jr., and Ricardo Polanco. These individuals were charged with conspiracy to commit murder against fellow Mexican Mafia member Frankie Buellna. The operation also led to the seizure of over 6 pounds of harmful substances worth $36,000, 18 pounds of refined methamphetamine valued at $162,000, 14 grams of a controlled substance and 36 grams of another dangerous narcotic, $43,000 in cash, an arsenal including pistols, rifles, shotguns, and 1 grenade. Further arrests uncovered 9 pounds of refined methamphetamine, half a pound of heroin, additional firearms, including an AK-47, and $20,000 in cash. Investigative tactics employed included wiretaps, informants, undercover operations, and extensive surveillance. DEA Special Agent Timothy J. Landrum remarked, "Our citizens deserve to live without fear and intimidation inflicted by violent drug gangs." Today's arrests should significantly impact violent drug-related activities in the Ontario area. Roots of the Black Angels. Formed over 50 years ago, the Black Angels gang claims the entire city of Ontario as its territory. With an estimated 450 members, the gang comprises senior figures and younger recruits from subgroups such as Ontario Varrio Sur OBS and the Junior Black Angels. Federal investigations revealed efforts to recruit juveniles, often targeting local high schools to induct new members. Aligned with the Mexican Mafia, the gang's leadership includes at least 4 Mafia-affiliated members. Among them was Armando "Mondo" Barajas, a 46-year-old Pomona resident and a central figure in orchestrating gang activities. His responsibilities included overseeing drug distribution, collecting taxes from local dealers, and maintaining communication with incarcerated members. Sweeping indictments. The indictments issued against the Black Angels outlined a range of illicit activities. 1. Narcotics trafficking, including transportation across the U.S.-Mexico border. 2. Smuggling contraband into prisons. 3. Extortion of local drug dealers. 4. Organized robberies and violent assaults. 5. Murder, including targeting members who fell out of favor. The central federal indictment, handed down by a grand jury in Los Angeles, charged 50 individuals. Of these, 36 were prosecuted under the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations RICO Act, enabling authorities to target the gang as a criminal enterprise. Additional charges included firearms violations, conspiracy to distribute illicit substances, and violent crimes in aid of racketeering. Leadership convicted in major racketeering case. On January 27, 2014, 2 prominent Black Angels leaders, Armando "Mondo" Barajas and Juan Nito Gil, were convicted of federal racketeering charges following a 9-day trial in Los Angeles. Barajas, a Mexican Mafia member, was charged with orchestrating narcotics distribution and directing gang operations. Gil, also affiliated with the Mexican Mafia, managed gang activities through intermediaries despite serving a 10-year prison sentence at the time. Criminal enterprise activities. The Black Angels operations extended beyond drug trafficking. Key criminal activities included firearms trafficking, supplying illegal firearms to affiliates and associates, murder and violence, brutal enforcement methods, including notable murders committed by gang members. John Blackbird Flores was sentenced to 143 years to life for a 2011 murder, while Daniel Vera received 25 years to life for the 2009 killing of Manuel Vega. Hate crimes. The gang has been linked to racially motivated attacks, particularly targeting African Americans in its territory. Impact of law enforcement efforts. This high-profile case resulted in convictions for 59 individuals associated with the Black Angels, ranging from enforcers to female associates aiding in operations. Notably, Juan Nito Gil managed gang activities through his wife, Virginia Gil, and associates Juan Swifty Diaz and David Plucky Navarro. Such prosecutions dismantled significant elements of the gang's structure. Eric Hopley, chief of the Ontario Police Department, described the effort as a landmark achievement. This was a huge case for us that involved scores of investigators and hundreds of man-hours. The guilty verdicts are good news for both law enforcement and the citizens of Ontario. The coordinated crackdown on the Black Angels underscores the power of collaborative law enforcement to disrupt organized crime. As noted by DEA Special Agent Timothy J. Landrum, the arrests send a clear message. Organized crime and gang violence will not be tolerated. These efforts represent a step toward restoring safety and security to communities long plagued by fear and violence, reaffirming that no criminal enterprise is beyond the reach of justice. Legacy and impact. The rise of OBS from a car club to a dominant organized crime entity underscores the gang's resilience and adaptability. Through strategic alliances with the Mexican mafia, they have transformed into more than just a local street gang, becoming an integral part of the broader socio-political landscape of organized crime in Southern California. Their impact continues to be felt across communities, where their presence has reshaped dynamics within neighborhoods, prison systems, and rival gang territories. Conclusion: Ontario Varrio Sur and its elite Black Angels symbolize both the evolution and endurance of street gangs in the face of shifting socio-political landscapes. Their intricate structure, strategic alliances, and ability to adapt ensure their longevity and influence. While their legacy brings turmoil to many communities, it also serves as a stark reminder of the challenges posed by organized crime and the need for comprehensive approaches to addressing its roots and effects.